Well, folks, here we are. We're right back again. It
New
only took,
season.
yep, but only Freddie only took us 3 or 4 months from the end of the spring season. It just seems like it just happened like that. But hello again, everybody. I'm James Escarcega, along with our local sports editor and the man who's been a part of 11 straight years of the 2 Minute Drill, the one and only Fred Robledo. Hi,
Yes,
Fred.
11 years, and it probably goes back farther than that to the blog days, the different kind of videos we did with the late, great Reginald Miller. But hey, it feels good to have a football season here again. We had the spring season, which was a little abbreviated and different, but to have the full fall season start this week, it's been a long, long, long time coming. And I wrote a column this week, and I think the feeling this year is going to be appreciation that we can all get back there in sort of a normal way, James, with crowds and cheerleaders and bands and snack bars at some places. We're not out of the woods yet with the coronavirus, especially that new Delta variant, but just cross your fingers and hope we can get most of the season in.
I think that's the biggest thing for me, Fred, is we are going to get a football season in. We may have some bumps on the road. We're already seeing it already with a couple of teams that had to cancel the week zero games. Bishop Amat was one of them. Damien was one of them. But we are going to get a football season in, aren't we?
Yeah, no, there's no doubt. I think there's gonna be some cancellations. If you look at last fall and the teams that played around the country, I think it could be similar to that. There's gonna be some outbreaks. There are gonna be some teams that have to cancel. We've already seen that. This Thursday was supposed to be the big, Bishop Amat game, the season opener, James, and they had to cancel because they had an outbreak. Muir was supposed to play Loyola this week. They had to cancel. They had an outbreak. So these are the kind of things that are going to happen throughout the season. We've just got to roll with it and see what happens.
Freddie debuted the top 20. It's on the website this morning. The last 2 weeks, we've been kind of slowly counting down from 10 into 1. I think, Freddie, for some football fans, we sure like to know why you've got Monrovia 12, Diamond Ranch 11, and San Dimas 10. Those are three. That's a tough call there, pal.
Yeah, and I think, look, you could take any one of those three teams and you can make an argument that any one of them could be 10. Maybe Diamond Ranch is the 10th best. Time we did it, I like San Dimas. I'm going to hold them there. Monrovia is another one. They've got a great returning quarterback. Not even 10. Maybe they're 9, 8, or 7. When you haven't played a real full schedule and stuff in 2 years, it's hard to really know for sure. But I think we have an idea. I think our top five is probably fairly solid. Those 6 through 10 spots, they're going to get challenged by teams that we have 10 through 20, and we put out the top 20 rankings this morning, so you can go online and take a look at them. But I feel pretty good with where we're starting. And remember, everyone's going to have to look at those Cal Preps rankings each week to see where you are in terms of divisions, where you're going to fall at the end of the season. Those rankings are going to be important.
Great point, Fred. And it's going to be, I think it's going to be exciting, especially when you start getting to week 7, week 8, week 9, and those ratings start kind of fluctuating up and down, and you kind of start looking forward to the playoffs a little bit. I think it's kind of exciting. I understand your point of view, which is you think that it's kind of rewarding mediocrity a little bit, and that you're dropping a team like, let's say, Bishop Amat has a 5-5 season. They go into Division 3. All of a sudden, they're now probably a contender for the championship. I totally get that. But I also think that those lower division teams, you get to see where you're going to be. And I think that's kind of exciting. And the most important thing, I think, Freddie, and we don't want to belabor the point here too much. If you're qualified out of your league, you're going to make the playoffs, which I think is huge.
Except if you're in some of those 4 teams leagues in the Mount Sac area.
It's crazy, isn't it?
They really hurt themselves under this new format with only 2 teams from each league being guaranteed. So you're going to see some really good teams from our area and tougher leagues get eliminated. And, again, we'll let this season all play out. We'll have plenty of conversation, James, during the season, what we think about it, where teams are ranked in Cal Preps, what it looks like it might be toward the end of the season. But, I stand firm kind of right now and thinking, I'm not a fan of this system of not knowing your division until the end of the year and what it might do for public schools that have generational seasons that are thrown into these great divisions while teams that just slip in and finish third could be a number one team in the next Division 5 or the next Division 6 because they fell in the right slot. I don't like all of that kind of stuff. We'll see what people think about it when we get there, but it'll certainly be a topic of conversation all year long.
All right. And we will be doing that all season long. We have week coverage, a week by week coverage. We'll kind of get you counting down to that. It's going to be, I think, one of the most extraordinary selection Sundays we'll see in some time, Fred. I can feel it. I can just feel it now, so to speak.
Yeah,
It's going to be,
no, it will be.
it's going to be really fun.
You're finding out where your division is at the same time who you're playing. That'll be like a selection Sunday like we've never seen before. And I think
Rob mentioned,
I think the CIF is going to. I think CIF is going to like that and benefit from it as well.
And Rob Wygott mentioned in the video that we did at the end of the year, all our teams are going to make it. So just because you may be 500, you may not think you make it. There's a great possibility that you'll make it. He wants to have the 16 best teams, in a certain division, and just let it play out. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes, so to speak. Let's get right to work, Freddie. We got a lot of games here. Such an attractive week 0 schedule. Now, again, we don't have several of our top teams in your top 5 in. Bishop Mott's not in. St. Francis is not playing this week. Damien's not playing this. They're all scrimmaging. But I think Fred will take, as we always do, we'll take the 3 games from our 3 local newspapers and just kind of roll from there. And let's start with the, I think Freddie was one of the more intriguing cross coverage games that we have, and it's our San Gabriel Valley Tribune game of the week. La Serna is playing Bonita at California High School. Freddie, there's just so many. I was just thinking about this morning. So many layers to this game. You've got the coaching matchup of Andy George and Steve Bogan, the quarterback matchup. Freddie, this as week 0 goes, it's pretty big.
Yeah, it is. And I remember us building up in the spring, the big week 0 game. It was La Serna and Muir, and La Serna just absolutely, rolled through them. I have a lot of respect for what Andy George has done over there. I think Jake George, our number 1 ranked receiver, coming out going into the fall, is going to have an absolutely beast of a season. It's a good opener, crossover opener. Steve Bogan's reigning in a new quarterback. I mean, he's always right there. They're going to be in a tough league this year. It's a great way to start the season, but I just, something about La Serna. They've been able to come through in these big spots, James, and I kind of like them.
The new quarterback is Daniel Andrade. He's the younger brother of JP Andrade, who just lit it up several years ago under Coach Bogan's tutelage. Now the word from the summer camps and summer passings, and I didn't go out there this summer for reasons of a personal reason, which was I was tired. I wanted to get some rest, but everybody who I talked to really thought highly of the kid, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens now. It's one thing that Freddie to throw it when it's 7-on-7. It's another when you got 5 angry guys coming at you from a defensive line point of view. Yeah,
and the one thing with Bonita the last couple of years is they seem like they're always able to score points. James, is that they give up a lot of points. They have a team that can run the ball. They give up these big chunks, at least in the games that I've seen them. So that's kind of a concern. La Serna doesn't give you that as much. I mean, they're going to be solid defensively and they're going to score points. That's why at home, I like them in this opener, but it's definitely an intriguing first week game.
So Freddie's picking La Serna.
You've got La Serna.
I am picking Bonita.
Yeah. You don't believe it, but you said it. But go ahead.
I'm picking Bonita.
All right, take him.
All right, we're just going to leave it there.
Leave it there.
I have nothing. It has, just going to leave it there, Freddie.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Pasadena Star News game of the week is Pasadena taking a trek down the 101 freeway to Notre Dame High School at Sherman Oaks. I'm surprised, Freddie, first off, that they took this game. This is way above any type of game they've been involved in for a good long minute here. Notre Dame, I believe, is ranked 8th in Tariq Fatal's preseason rankings, which means that they would probably be a top 3, top 4 team in our area. That's calling it what it is because they have a lot of athletes. Pasadena's is bringing in transfers. They got a new quarterback. Dante Coronel is now graduated. Freddie, this is a tall task here for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, Coach Maxey said, they got Jason Ridley from Muir, who's got a Nevada offer. Mike Liggins, Darian Bird from Cathedral, James Bunkley, from South Hills. I mean, Caden Taylor, who transferred Monrovia, is probably going to be their quarterback. Hey, look, this is a big step up game for them, and I think a game that is really, really needed. James, they had a good spring, but they didn't beat anybody. Let's just be honest with ourselves. They beat Muir. That's great in the rivalry for the bragging rights, but they didn't beat anybody. We came out with these rankings. I know there's our top 10, and we have passing at number 8. And they thought that was sort of a disrespectful ranking, that they should have been higher. Well, here's your chance to prove it. You're going to go play Notre Dame, a team from the Mission League. If you're that good, we'll see that you're that good. You'll jump up those rankings. It's just I need to see it to believe it. And like you said, this is the kind of game that is going to let us know right away when we start ranking them against teams like Damien, against Bishop Amat, against St. Francis. This is that type of game that Pasadena is playing, an opponent of that caliber. So if they want to be amongst our top 5 or 6, then you've got to play with and beat a team like Notre Dame. And so I think it's a great way to open the season, James. You'll be there and you'll be able to let us know exactly how that game shapes out.
Who you taking, pal?
I'm taking Notre Dame. I don't think Pasadena. Look, I know they're going to be improved. I think when it comes down to in these types of things, it isn't your skill players, because both teams are going to have skill players. It's your depth. And that's what these teams who play these step-up games never realize, is how much depth these bigger programs have, especially at those line positions that go 2, 3, and 3 deep. And Pasadena doesn't even have a JV team this year, I'm told. They're just a varsity team. So when you start thinking about depth and things like that, James, you can get worn pretty quick. They start running on you, it could get ugly pretty quick. I'm not saying they're going to get routed, but I'm saying Notre Dame's going to win.
I'm with you. I'll take Notre Dame as well. I think it's a closer game than you think.
Yeah,
I think it's probably going to be like maybe a 10-point game.
There's a lot of pride in Pasadena. The whole red is better thing that is going on the internet from Coach Maxey. I think it's great. They're doing their thing, and they want to be heard, so they're going to be heard.
The Whittier Daily News game of the week is a beauty too. It is Upland at La Habra, and La Habra is the number 2 team in our area. And what makes this game so interesting, Freddie, and I predicted this back in the spring, my friend. I told you that if Damien was going to beat Upland, you were going to see kids from Upland transferring to Damien, and the prophet has spoken.
Yeah, they had 4 freshmen who started on varsity in the spring who went straight to Damien, and we're talking about some key players. I don't know what Upland has left in the bag. In the spring you could see that little drop, and they're going to open with a team like La Habra. I don't see it, but it's Upland, so you can't count them out. You've got to see it first. But definitely this isn't the Upland team that we've seen the past 5, 6, 7 years. It's just not. And I don't think they're even, I think they're probably the 3rd best if you're going to pick in the baseline league, behind Damien, Etowanda, and then it would be Upland and maybe Rancho. So this is a good test for them. We have La Habra obviously number 1 out of our gate. Number 2 out of our gate in our rankings. They went 6-0 in the spring. They beat some pretty good teams. They went to Chaminade, beat a very good Chaminade team. They've got a great quarterback, leading the way. So they're going to be solid, and La Habra is going to win this game. The great
Justin Gill is that starting quarterback that Freddie was referencing.
Yeah. This is the game before the game. La Habra goes to Bishop Amat next week. So what a opening couple of weeks for them.
And Amat scrimmages Culver City this week, by the way. So we just wanted to throw that out there this week. I like La Habra here as well. They're very tough to beat at home. I'll take them this week. So those are the 3 games of the week that we'll be covering. But we've got this menu is tremendous, Freddie. So let's talk about some of these other games. And first off, let's talk about the game you're going to be at, which is St. Joseph High School Santa Maria. It's going to Charter Oak. And the reason why I think part of this reason why this game is intriguing is one of my good friends and my former coaching pal, Pep Villasenor, who is one of the most innovative offensive minds I think there is in Southern California, is the head coach at St. Joseph's. He brought this game to Charter Oak for a reason. He wanted his guys to get tougher, and here we are.
Yeah, and he's going to face a really good Charter Oak team. Look, this is the best team they've had since 2017 when they went to the Division II semifinals. I'm not saying they're that good, but they're going to be really improved. They were young in the spring and got older. Look, Charter Oak is getting a lot of transfers in. They got at least, I think, 3 or 4 guys from Maranatha that are going to really help them out. Solomon Davis is going to be a really good player that helps them out. And the coaching staff, I can't emphasize enough. They've got the Perrys as the offensive and defensive coordinator. You got Roger Lehigh there to go with Dom Farrar, taking over for the great Lou Farrar, his dad. I just think, that coaching that they have and that talent that they have, you're going to put it together, James. That's why I have them ranked 6 going into the season, and that they could climb. They're going to play Glendora in a couple of weeks, but this is going to be a good first test to see where they're at. And I'm excited to go there Friday because I've heard so much about Charter Oak ever since the spring ended in what they were going to have this fall. And you see that all kind of building up to this point. And it's going to be a good game. I hear Santa Maria or St. Joseph's a pretty solid program too. So this is a good test.
That's why I'm taking the upset. I'm taking my man Pep Villasenor. Yeah, I'm taking him to beat Charter Oak in a very close game in the final play of the game, so that you're on deadline and you got to write it.
Yeah, well, I think it's going to be. I think they're going to win by 2 touchdowns. So okay. I think I'm going to start writing that story in the 3rd quarter, and I'm going to file it by 9:45, and it'll be done. What do you think of that? Charter Oak. It's hard to. This is one of those games that's really hard to pick with any kind of confidence because we don't know a lot about St. Joseph's other than what their record was last year. They didn't even play in the spring. Did they?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Those Central teams didn't play in the spring, so we haven't seen them in 2 years. Yeah, I like Charter Oak, James. We'll just say that.
Okay. Charter Oak's got a game with Glendora coming up in a couple weeks in the annual Mayor's Cup game.
That's the truth game of all. That's going to be really.
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
In the meantime, Glendora's got their own truth game in their own. They're playing West Ranch on the road at Valencia High School on Friday, Freddie. Here's one thing I'm just going to touch about this with Glendora quickly. They don't go on social media a lot. They don't say, hey, all roads lead to Glendora. Brandon Rohr is a very quiet dude, but yet his programs are always solid.
Yeah, and this is going to be another really, really solid team. They've got a lot of guys coming back. Braden Bruce is maybe arguably the best 2-way player in the entire area. And they've got a lot back, James, on the offensive and defensive lines. There's a new I forget his first name. He's a sophomore now, running back from a good family of backs. Ford, right? His can't remember his first name, but they have him. You have him with Bruce as kind of 2 guys. They're always going to be able to throw the ball. I really like Glendora this year. This is one of those teams I want to watch throughout the season to see with their schedule and how they're doing, where they might fall in the divisions. Are they going to be a Division 2, 3, 4, 5 team? I think they're going to fall in that Division 2 to 4 category. But they're going to have a really, really good season. And when you look at their schedule, they have a chance to do really well.
Sounds like Freddie's going to be taking both, and myself, we're both taking Glendora this week. This game is at Valencia High School, 7 o'clock on Friday night. Another crossover special here, Freddie. West Covina and Monrovia. Interesting.
Yeah, Mike Majori's first real time back after a couple of years of not a couple of years, after 5. How many years has it been? 5, 6, 7 years since he's
right around there. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he had some spring games, but this is the first full season. So this is, to me, when it really counts. And he's been building back that program, James. So Monrovia is obviously, with Noah Rodriguez at quarterback, they're going to be really good. He's going to throw the ball for 2,500 yards this year, I think. I think Monrovia, when I looked at their schedule, they have a really good chance to go 10-0.
I agree with you.
I think, there's a few games on this schedule that are going to be testers. I don't think this is going to be a tester. I think they handle West Covina fairly well. But I haven't. It's hard to say. I don't know what Mike Majori has up his sleeve. Him being back makes me think they're going to be a whole lot better. But I know Monrovia is good. So I like Monrovia in this game. And again, look at their schedule, James. They're going to roll through the Rio Hondo League when they get there. So it's really like if someone doesn't get them in the non-league, and they've got all pretty winnable games, I think they're going to be favored in every game they play, the non-league. This is a 10-0 team. And then they're one of these teams I'm talking about. You go 10-0, what division is that going to put you in? Is that going to sneak you into Division 3 or 2? That's pretty tough for Monrovia if it happens. We'll see.
I don't think so. I think they're going to be right in their spot in the mid majors, dude. I think they're going to be right in that 8 or 9 range. I don't see them making that jump to 3.
Cal Preps rankings and how they look at 10-0 teams like this that play a modest schedule. That's what's going to be interesting to watch.
Yeah, and one thing to keep in mind too, and I remember Eric Maddie was telling me this last spring, is that they capped the point differential at 35, I believe. So if they start playing in the Rio Honda League and winning by 60-0 or whatever, just keep in mind that those things get capped already. So that's just something to keep in mind. Last game, we want to talk about here before we hit the lightning round here, Freddie. La Mirada is playing El Toro at Excelsior High School. And I mentioned this game, Freddie, because I think it's really time that we need to see Mike Machete get some work done here at La Mirada.
Yeah, well, I think since he's come back, I mean, he'll be the first to admit they haven't done as well as he's hoped they would do. So I think this is a big season for them to see. Now it'll be a couple of years in that he's back. And I expect La Mirada to be better again. He's just such a good coach. He surrounds himself with good coaches. It's a talent-rich area, so they tend to get athletes and students on those fringes who want to come play, and Mike's there. So they're one of those we have to kind of wait and see what they're going to be like. But I'm going with tradition here. That's why I have them in the top 10 at I believe number 9. I believe in what he does and thinks he's going to have them back and ready this year.
Well, if you remember back, and some of those guys, you don't see some of the questionnaires that we get in. Boy, Mike was talking. You look at those guys he's got up front, 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", 6'3", just right across that line. Yeah. He has got some size up front now, which has been a hallmark of his teams in the past. Yeah. So take La Mirada in that spot too.
This is why sometimes you got to bet on coach. So I'm betting on Machete here that they're just going to
always bet on Machete. You always bet on Machete, man. Yeah. One of our new features, folks, this we're going to implement this year is the lightning round. We've got like 5 or 6 games, quick takes, get them off, get them all, get them in, get them out, so to speak. And it's a perfect week to do it. So let's start with the annual rivalry game, Freddie. Los Altos at Wilson.
Los Altos. Is there much more to say? Los Altos, easy.
Valley Christian at St. Paul.
St. Paul. I think St. Paul's going to be, they had a bad spring. I think a lot of people are down on them, but they're going to come right back, James. They're going to be pretty good this year. I'm not saying they're going to be St. Paul 2 or 3 years ago, but they're going to be better.
Whittier at San Dimas.
Whittier, and I know I have this is me going.
What are you talking about here?
My own rankings, but since I put those rankings out, and remember we started our top 10 2 weeks ago. I've been hearing some things about San Dimas that really concerned me. So I've got and Whittier, they have the running back that had a great, great spring, and he's going to be able to run the ball. And I think this was a close game.
Whittier won last year, Coach. A couple years ago, Coach.
A couple years ago, yeah. I'm going with Whittier. Screw it.
Village Christian at LaSalle.
LaSalle. Richie Munoz, 3rd year at quarterback. James, I have him number 1 out of the gate. This guy's going to throw for 300 yards a game. They just need to, if they can find a defense, they win games.
This is the best game of the week for me here of this group of games. Cal High at Sure.
Oh, man, I'm going to go with Cal, James. You probably know more about Sure being an alum, but I like Cal in this situation.
Does that mean that Edgewood had a football team? You know a lot about Edgewood or what?
Why are they playing right off the bat?
It's a great game. We do want to mention, folks, that the Sure South Torrance game, which was originally canceled because of COVID, is now back on. So they're going to play next week as well. And Sure also, and I'm going to throw it out there. Back in July, they caught the COVID bug. They had, I think, like 5 or 6 kids that tested positive, so they had to shut down for the middle part of July. But I talked to Dave Ramos last week, and his team is back up and running. How do you like that, Fred? The lightning round, 6 games, less than 2 minutes.
That's the way we should do a lot of these games. Just rifle through them and get more teams in. No, but it's all good. I think it was, I'm ready for the first week. Get out there, everybody be safe. Get vaccinated, do everything you can to keep these guys on the field for the next 14, 16, 18 weeks, whatever it's going to be. The winter, we don't know what's ahead of us with this new variant. So everyone just do your part so that we can all stay out there week after week. The last thing we want at any point, James, is another shutdown. Wear your
Well, we
mask.
also are counting on Freddie is one of the another new traditions within our coverage on Friday night, which is the Friday evening wrap.
The Friday evening wrap. Yes, that's when all of our games and the scores, everything, we'll have that up late night. So in the morning, when you grab your cup of coffee, I don't care if you wake up at 5:30, 6:30, or 7, you'll have that. And then you'll have James's Saturday morning wrap for the weekend.
Yeah, look at all those games I get to follow up on this week. It should be a lot of fun, man. I want to see who's gonna be the standouts from week 0, so to speak.
Yes.
It's gonna be a lot of fun. We're gonna go rifling through hopefully 15 weeks of this football with the state playoffs and everything. And Freddie, first off, it's great to see you. I think last year we saw each other at the Servite Damien game, and that was it. We usually do this in the office, but I guess things are just a little bit different. But like you, I'm excited, and let's get after it, man.
Let's go. You ready, James?
Let's
That
do it.
CIF pass is on its way. It's about ready to drop
baby. That's
right
what we're
now.
talking about. That's what we're talking about at the end of the day. Hey, everybody, it's great to see you all. We hope to see you at the games, as Jonathan Camus would say. And we'll be back next week with another edition of the 2-Minute Drills, and it should be a huge week next week. We want to tease it. La Habra at Bishop Mon. I wonder where Freddie's going to be at next week. I just wonder. I don't know.
Oh, I mean,
let's think about that for a second.
Those back-to-back games next week. I mean, Damien's going to open on a Thursday. That's
Loyola, right?
Loyola, their first game, Loyola at Damien. That's going to be a monster. And then La Habra at Bishop Mon on Friday. So I think before we get to September, those top 5 in our rankings, there could be some shuffling. Teams are going to get a chance to prove it on the field, not just in all the talk.
I'll talk to you through the week, my friend. Thank you.
All right. See you.
All right. All right, everybody. We'll see you next week. Thank you.